So Kartana decided to keep the pattern of most of the other Ultra Beasts in that it has 2 or 3 really high stats and the rest are just very low. And honestly, as far as the people I've talked to have been concerned, this is one of their favorite Ultra Beasts, and they think it will stay in the OU metagame because although it is very strong, it does have a bad weakness in that terrible special defense. So if we look at all of Kartana's stats, the first thing you notice is that its attack is absolutely through the roof. At 181, that is just so potent and powerful that it's going to be 2-hit KOing almost anything that doesn't resist what it's trying to throw out. Its defense is also very high at 131, but its HP really doesn't help that at only base 59. And with that, it can't take a special hit at all. With only 31 base special defense, it's so paper thin on that side. Its special attack is 59, and that's really not very good either. And then its speed at 109 is actually very good. It surpasses the 100 base speed tier, but it just barely falls short of the 110 speed tier, so it could have a little trouble with that once Pokebank comes out, but for now it seems very viable in the meta. It's a grass steel type, which means if Ferrothorn is any suggestion, then that's a great typing pair to have, because you only have 2 weaknesses. Fighting and fire, which means this Pokemon is only really terrified of Flamethrower or Fire Blast because they obviously do like 500% to it. It also has a ton of resistances. It's immune to poison, it resists Fairy, Dragon, Normal. It can wall a lot of the Pokemon in this meta, but because of Pokemon like Kartana, there are a lot more that are carrying fire coverage. So it really depends on how advanced your opponent is and how far they've thought ahead in what might be brought. And if Kartana becomes too centralized and too many people start carrying it, I expect to see a lot of hidden power fires on different special attackers. And of course, the ability Beast Boost is shared among all the Ultra Beasts. Almost every time you run a Kartana, your Beast Boost will be pretty much the same as a Moxie Boost, in that every time you get a kill, you'll get an attack buff. Maybe if you're running a fully defensive Kartana with a negative attack nature, maybe you'll boost your defense instead, but I really see no need in doing that. Because of Kartana's straightforward stats, there's really only a couple ways to run her. Now, I assume it's a her. I believe all Ultra Beasts are genderless, but just the name sounds feminine. So I thought for the first set you could run a Focus Sash to make sure you live any one hit as long as hazards aren't up, a Jolly Nature, max out your speed and your attack, throw that extra 4 in your defense, and then add Sword Stance. That way, no matter what your opponent hits you with, you're going to be able to get to +2 attack. And since you're already base 181, you're going to be knocking out anything that doesn't resist all 3 of your moves. So as far as coverage goes for this Pokemon, it actually only gets 1 decent physical steel type move in Smart Strike. It doesn't get moves like Iron Head for whatever reason, but Smart Strike is just a little bit inferior. It's 70 base power, and its only additional ability is that it never misses, which is useful enough if you go up against something like Minimize Blissey or Minimize Muck, but otherwise Iron Head would be better. It's just not an option for this Pokemon. You also get Leaf Blade as your other stab, which is 90 base power, grass type, and it has a high critical hit ratio, so that's actually not a bad move at all. And then for the most part, everyone will be carrying Sacred Sword as their last coverage move. Because it's fighting, it rounds out the steel grass type coverage well, and it makes it hard for your opponents to resist whatever hit you're going to try to send their way. There are only very few Pokemon that can even stand up to +2 and these 3 moves and not get one-shot by them, so I believe this set is very potent. Other coverage you could run if you decided not to run either Sacred Sword or Smart Strike is Night Slash, which is dark type coverage, Psycho Cut for psychic type coverage, you got X Scissor, and then Aerial Ace for bug and flying type coverage. But really, these are lesser needed types because they hit less super effectively. Now, you could replace one of your stab moves, but Sacred Sword is very important on this Pokemon for hitting things like other steel types. Now, the only other sets I could really think to run were either a Choice Bandit or Choice Scarf set. You'd almost always want to run a Jolly Nature, I would imagine. Now, maybe if you ran a Scarf, you'd prefer Adamant, but I think you need to give as much speed to this Pokemon as possible just because its attack is so high. From here, obviously you'd want to run your 2 stabs and then 2 coverage moves, probably Sacred Sword like I mentioned. And then for your last move, I'd say either Knot Slash or Psycho Cut. It really depends on what your team needs and what you're weak to. And also you could run something that your opponent may not expect, like if you were running Aerial Ace to surprisingly hit Buzzwalls really hard. I'm not sure if it's a one-shot, but it would do a ton of damage to a Buzzwall thinking it could switch in on one of your other moves that wouldn't be super effective on him. Moves that this Pokemon get that are good moves, but maybe not the best on this Pokemon in general, are Defog and Synthesis, which are utility moves to get rid of hazards or to heal yourself, but that base special defense, no matter what you do with it, it's not going to get you very far. It's the equivalent of Cryogonal's physical defense in older generations, which means that it probably can't even take some priority moves like boosted vacuum waves. One set that may be good on this would be a substitute set, which would be similar to the Swords Dancing set. You just have to get rid of one of your 3 attacking moves to run substitute. But really, yet again, this Pokemon just is too frail to try to run substitutes most of the time, in my opinion. It also gets a move that I believe is unique to it, called Laser Focus, which only guarantees that your next move is a critical hit. It's very similar to the move Lock On or Mind Reader, which mean that you'll always hit your next move, but it instead guarantees you a critical hit. So I was thinking maybe in the League format, like how the UCL is run, or the GBA, this could be useful if your opponent has something like a Suicune that likes to set up. You could run Laser Focus, take a hit, and then Leaf Blade, and then you'd have a guaranteed critical hit that breaks through any boost your opponent may have. Now, that wouldn't help against a Pokemon with tons of Calm Minds because obviously you're a physical attacker, but something like Bulk Up or Iron Defense, it would be very useful. I also thought it was funny that this Pokemon gets Calm Mind, and even if you were +6 Calm Mind in Special Attack and Special Defense, I really don't think that's helping anything, so I have no idea why they decided to give it to this Pokemon. Overall, though, I think Kartana will be important and have a very central role in the meta if it doesn't get banned, but we'll just have to wait and see what comes of it. One thing I thought I should add is that Kartana is not the only Pokemon that gets Laser Focus. Mewtwo, Lucario, and Marshadow also get this move, but really I don't see it being useful enough to really worry about the specifics. I just thought I should add that at the end because somebody always likes to comment when I make a little mistake, and I apologize for my mistakes. I'm not always the best informed, but I try to get out the information as best I can. Alright, thanks. See you guys.